All right, so I just got done reading here. Tail Gets Trolled, Chapter 3. Now, I guess I was under the false impression that these chapters were going to kind of increase in substance over time. Nonetheless, there was quite a bit here in that I think the larger narrative seems to kind of be splintering into um this creative decision that Laserbots made to elaborate on the lore and to sort of expand the character dynamics. At once kind of a tangent as much as it is a clear decision to decide on a longer form storytelling method here. Very anime-esque, very manga-esque. So we see the cliffhanger of sorts leading up to this hut troll, a counter-terrorist measure against the trolls, um, being derailed by a sudden beef between Mario and Luigi. Now, in my notes, I originally wrote sudden beef, but I suppose there was um, some good kind of little breadcrumbs that implied that Luigi was always second fiddle, um, and I found it interesting that they chose to kind of branch out on Luigi and Mario's beef because if you think about the source material, that sort of beef between them it's always kind of on just barely on the outskirts of the Mario verse, and perhaps it's time for me to see um, and look into a little more into the Mario and Luigi dynamic, but maybe trying out some of those GBA Mario and Luigi RPGs. My experience, I don't think Luigi is even present in Super Mario RPG, and I find something more text driven to be a better way to kind of flesh out these character dynamics. Although a great way to create the foundations of them is sort of through these universally understood non-lingual means. Nonetheless, we see a kind of Game of Thronesian amount of death here. If I recall correctly, the time at which this was published was kind of the same time of Game of Thrones, where sort of killing off what seems to be main characters has become normalized and kind of a surefire shortcut to creating uh, viewer or reader involvement. Uh, now, in this case, though, the murder and death is so flagrant that it kind of outweighs um, uh, any of the misanthropy that even an HBO series could try to project. Um, we kind of see that these characters, even the characters that are meant to be our main characters, are loose cannons all the way. They're total misanthropes. They cannot be trusted. Who is good and who is bad? I don't know. It doesn't really matter that much. I also wanted to kind of point out, and I know that someone I'm a big fan of, Cybershell, has made multiple compelling cases for Tails Gets Trolled before, and says that the action is actually very well blocked and very well directed, if you will, or drawn. And I tend to agree here. This fight between Mario and Luigi is rather impressive. Definitely taking notes from Naruto and some of the better episodes of Dragon Ball Z. Perhaps even with unconscious influence from John Woo of sorts. I'm rather impressed. I'm rather impressed. We see in this, I had a hard time telling if this was kind of done post or retroactively, I should say, but we also see the use of multimedia here. I'm not an active reader of Homestuck, but I know that's a thing in the webcomic form is where they like to insert sort of flash videos or YouTube videos of games and such to expand upon the medium and kind of have it exist in its own context outside of the comic. We see here a YouTube video is one of the pages, and it's narrated and everything. And my theory is that I should have looked into this beforehand, but the following page is identical to the video. So it's just kind of reiterated. So I do wonder if that's the voice of Laserbot or not. Tell you what, when we talk about Chapter 4, I'll let you in on that because I can't imagine this is the one and only time in which we're going to see this kind of multimedia use. It also makes me think perhaps Homestuck would be a good video series, wouldn't it? Homestuck would be fun to do with another person, I think. Anyways, the story actually didn't move too much. This was a bit of a sidestep from everything before. The major thing that moved was the Sonic the Hedgehog path of the story. Sonic is not a part of the Troll Slayers. Sonic is, in fact, he's on the same side of things, but he's reached out to Dr. Eggman. As we alluded to before, everyone thinks it's kind of ridiculous that Sonic hasn't finally truly dealt with Eggman. Clearly, these trolls have really gotten under everybody's skin and kind of elevated the stakes across the various, stories and relationships of these characters. And he asks Eggman for help finding where the trolls are, I think it was. And yeah, this is so stupid. But also kind of beautiful. And he asks for help from Eggman, and in return, I guess he'll give him all the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic backstabs him and he kills Dr. Eggman. So I think, yeah, he just kills Eggman outright. Um, Before he begins then he gets supercharged with rage and such, and begins fighting the trolls in earnest. And the trolls uh yeah, then we get the exposition of the trolls. The trolls, the king of the trolls, or whatever, the troll leader, is literally a troll. Um, in that, like in the medieval sense, in the Warcraftian sense, which I found charming. And the troll's son is a troll face for those who remember, what do you call them, Rage comics and such, and kind of proto "You Mad" or Chanish humor. Uh, and the backstory is pretty silly. It's kind of a generic medieval story where I liked this joke a lot. Where it's like before, back in my day, trolls were just trolls, and you used to call a troll a dick, and that they kind of adopted it because they were persecuted. And I actually found the troll story was kind of almost academically conscious of and sympathetic towards kind of a post-colonial ideas, post-colonial theories. Um, in that the trolls were kind of there, and then they were persecuted and they were pushed out, and it caused them to kind of live outside of the means of what would be considered normal and such. And yes, definitely taking notes from kind of Edward Said's Orientalism theory, and perhaps with a little of hybridity theory from Stuart Hall as well. um, it's a compelling, if not archetypical, backstory of a sympathetic villain. You know, um, yeah. We'll see how they play out. I want to see how much sympathy Laserbot is gonna write in for these trolls as this continues, to see if they kind of cross over. Because I know the trolls minions, these characters we see, they act much more unsympathetically, but thus far the king of the trolls has actually kind of merited the reason in which they act the way that they do, because quite a quote unquote normal society has pushed them out and forced them to act in a way that is kind of considered unacceptable and such. Um, but yeah, so far so good. Actually, pretty rich the more I talk about it out loud. That's Tails Gets Trolled Chapter 3. We'll see you at Chapter 4. Thanks for watching.